Tesla is no stranger to dealing with some pretty big legal battles, from fighting attempted and successful bans against its direct-to-customer sales model in some US states, to lobbying for continued federal tax incentives for plug-in cars. Tesla has a long history of doing battle with big oil, dealer associations and legislators alike to try and make it easier for it to do business. Despite everything that it's been doing of late, the new Model 3 variants, unveiling the Model Y, and going through a dizzyingly rapid series of price changes and policies on stores, Tesla has also been busy readying itself to do battle with various automobile dealer associations and legislators over plans to expand, not close, Tesla stores, as well as fighting proposed legislation in Texas designed to stop it from even servicing its own cars in the Lone Star State. And among all of those fights, it's got another one I'm going to focus on today, the New York Public Service Commission. And despite what you might assume, this fight isn't about selling or servicing Teslas, but rather incentives that the Commission is offering to try and make charging station installation and operation more appealing to businesses. The Commission, which is responsible for overseeing utility companies in the state of New York as part of the New York Department of Public Service, has been laying out some incentives designed to get more people to make the switch to electric cars. It's been doing it by creating special electricity rates for high-power quick charging station operators. The idea that if charging station operators are given cheaper electricity rates, then they are more likely to install and operate more rapid charging infrastructure for electric cars. Since it's more expensive in general to install and operate a rapid charger station than it is a lower powered public charging station, I'm not just talking equipment costs here. Operators have to pay high demand charges for pulling large amounts of instantaneous power from the grid on an unpredictable schedule. The reduced incentivized rates were designed to alleviate some of those costs. So far, so good. But the incentive program being operated in New York by the New York Public Service Committee isn't open to just any owner or operator of high-power DC quick charging networks for electric cars. Instead, it stipulates that in order to be eligible, any charging stations given lower rates must support both CHAdeMO and CCS quick charging standards. And that's upset Tesla, which says that it's being discriminated against. In a petition to the Commission, Tesla has said, quote, Tesla respectfully urges the Commission to refrain from discriminating against Tesla and undermining New York's ability to achieve its zero-emission vehicle and greenhouse gas reduction targets by reversing the order. The Commission has told Tesla that it will be eligible when it installs charging infrastructure that's compatible with both CCS and CHAdeMO DC quick charging standards. And those are the two main rapid charging standards adopted by the rest of the auto industry, US, European, and Japanese car companies. In response, Tesla has said the burden of installing the additional infrastructure would be cost prohibitive. It also says the original definition of the NYPSC of publicly accessible is too narrow. It argues that publicly accessible should only refer to the physical space around the charging station, not the type of charging plugs on the units themselves. It also points out that it made its charging technology available to other companies and thus isn't a closed walled garden through its open source pledge. At the time of writing this script and filming it, however, it hasn't actually agreed with any other automakers to share the superchargers. In refusing to allow it eligibility to the program, it says the New York Commission is penalising it for being the first to market and developing a high-powered charging network of its own when other rapid charging standards were both poorly deployed or limited in their total power outputs. With the arguments laid out, it's time to try and answer the question over alleged discrimination. Is Tesla being discriminated against? Well, that's a tough one, but it's worth noting here that both CCS and CHAdeMO are adopted standards used by the rest of the automotive world when it comes to electric car charging. And while Tesla currently dominates the market, it's only fair to ensure that any public money going to charging station incentive programs benefits as many different electric vehicle owners as possible, not just Tesla owners. Some would argue too, although I don't think I would, that as an established brand with established charging, Tesla doesn't need to be part of the incentive program. However, the flip side of this argument is that Tesla was proactive in filling out its charging network when other automakers were actively trying to not make electric cars at all. Personally, I don't feel Tesla is being discriminated against, and instead is not really solving the problem very effectively. I would rather see Tesla working with the Commission on how to get its supercharger sites in compliance with this than I would see it remain to only offer Tesla chargers and fight the whole deal. Yes, it did offer other automakers a chance to use supercharger tech, but it's totally conceivable that Tesla could offer at least one non-Tesla supercharger at its sites. It could, for example, see each Tesla supercharger site get a Tesla-branded CHAdeMO or CCS charging station alongside its Tesla-specific ones. Alternatively, since we know Tesla has the wherewithal to make a CHAdeMO to Tesla adapter, why not make the reverse for electric car owners who are willing to pay a premium and pay for access to the Supercharger network, just like Tesla owners do? That way, it could be in compliance. Finally, it's worth noting that Tesla's connector isn't a worldwide thing. In Europe, for example, Tesla uses a modified version of the Type 2 charge inlet on its cars, and it's just added CCS on all Tesla Model 3s for the European market, and that's instead of its own inlet supercharger design. And to ensure compliance, it's even putting dual charging cables on all of its supercharger stalls. While I'm not arguing that every stall should get that treatment, it would be interesting to see Tesla offer the supercharging experience to non-Teslas. I think it could dominate the charging market that way. Frankly, it might also be a way for the company to earn some extra money. Don't you agree? That's it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.